All right, welcome in, Cancers, to your April reading. Had a little block there for a second. So this is, as usual, for any Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus Cancers. If you're like, what does that mean? It's basically, so if you, most of you would know your sun sign, right? Your sun is like, hey, that's your main birthday date, right? So if you're a Cancer, you were born at the end of, beginning of June. No, I'm thinking of Gemini now. So Cancers are born the end of June through the beginning of July. So that means that's your sun sign. So you're a sun Cancer. To figure out your moon or rising or Venus sign, you actually have to know your birth chart, and you can, if you haven't looked that up before, you can go online and like search free birth chart, and it's going to ask you your like birth date. The other two pieces of information you do have to have is like your exact time of birth, and also the location of your birth. Unfortunately, the way the planets, it's really looking at that exact point in time, where were the planets aligned, what signs were they in, what houses were they in, and really that can shift like during the hour. So that's why it kind of has to be exact, because potentially, maybe an hour later, you could be something different. So again, if you know, go check your birth chart, because, and if you don't, go pull up a birth chart, and then it will tell you like your rising. It sometimes either is called your rising or ascendant sign. And you can see what sign you are, and then also your moon sign, and then Venus sign. Those are kind of the big top four. Usually your sun, moon, and rising are kind of like your top three. I kind of lump in Venus sign, just because Venus really will help kind of direct you towards more like relationship sector, and also like abundance in your life. So I feel like it's also pertinent, and a lot of people do look towards tarot to help them, especially with love and relationships. So just something I wanted to clarify for you guys, if you're like, what does that mean? I remember way back when I first saw first got into tarot, and even she kept referencing like cross watchers, and I was like, I don't know what that is. So I thought sometimes it's helpful just to like get a reminder for new people on what that is. Cross watchers as well are people who might be tuning into the video. Maybe they aren't a Cancer, but maybe their boyfriend, partner, spouse is a Cancer. So they're kind of cross-watching, right? They're trying to get information for someone else they're connected with. All right, little housekeeping there. Just another reminder, if you're interested in a personal private reading, I do those. And you can go to my website, which is listed in the description below. And you can schedule a reading through there. If you have any questions about private readings or anything, there is a kind of a place in my website where you can send me any questions, inquiries, or you can ask in the comments in the actual videos, and I'll monitor those as well and can respond there. So we are in springtime, so April. I just thought of April showers bring May flowers, so maybe there's some sort of sign with that popping in my head for you guys. Finally, Venus and Mercury are going direct this month, so that's kind of a sigh of relief. And not to say, I've been trying to look at retrogrades more positively. I also feel like a lot of messaging around retrogrades tend to be more negative and cautionary. But honestly, there is major positives to that, and it really, retrogrades versus planets going direct really represent the inner and outer world. So retrogrades are really about going inward. introspection, review, kind of taking a pause to just assess. And it's the same with life, right? And that's what's crazy about everything, whether it's astrology, tarot, even just like the seasons and everything in life. It's always there to give us lessons, to tell a story, to represent some sort of universal process. And that's what I love about it. You know, even the seasons, you know, represent the shift and changes of energy and the process of life, and whether it's birth and death or just, you know, the process of us evolving, the process of change within the external reality. It's all there as a representation. So that is springtime too, right? Spring is that renewal period. So I really like to think it does actually apply into our lives. So we are in this renewal phase. We are blooming, we are blossoming, we are coming out of a dark period, a time of rest, of kind of reflection. So I do feel like this is a time where we will start feeling that internally and externally. So let's take a look for you Cancers out there. I have these, I'm going to pull the Flower Medicine Oracle deck, and I thought it was just perfect timing with spring here. So what I'm doing is I'm actually pulling one of these cards for each zodiac sign, and it's twofold. There is a kind of a theme on it, but also I'm also asking to provide you guys a flower that really is some sort of symbol for you guys at this point in time, you know, especially through the spring and summer. So I would say whatever flower that comes up, it's something to maybe have around, to plant, or you can buy and just, again, or maybe it's a symbol that you want to have a picture around you, or get something that represents the flower. And just, it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact flower in real life, but definitely that would help energetically. But also a picture of that flower can be of service and help you in some way, and we'll see what that is. So let's get started and look at that. This is actually my favorite flower, hydrangea. And the meaning of a hydrangea is heartfelt apology. So that's kind of your kind of the root here for April, for spring. So I do feel this energy of people, maybe their hearts opening up, and people speaking their truth, and maybe people coming back from your past, or just even connections if you've had some conflict or certain challenging dynamics, where people are going to kind of start to become more aware and realize, you know, try to mend this. They might reach out to you, and this could also be for you too as well, that maybe you feel like you need to, are inspired to reach out to somebody or someone you're connected with and repair something that you feel like it's just hasn't been fully repaired and is still impacting you. It could literally be an apology coming to you, or that you need to apologize to somebody. Whoa, we got major flyers here. So then I also have this this other oracle deck here. I can't remember the name of it, and I can't find the box, but it is kind of a nature and wildlife oracle, which I think is also fitting for this time of the year. I think it's beautiful. So this flew out, foxglove, another flower, listen. And then we have the oak, reconnection. So this really aligns almost as a story here. So you could, like I said, there could be some reconnection. So there could be someone coming back from the past. This is really reminiscent of that Venus retrograde, which we're currently in. I think it does still, let me check my dates here, because I think that still goes through the beginning. It does end in April, but I just want to confirm when that ends. Yeah, so Venus stations direct April 12th. So for the first half of the month, you're going to have Venus retrograde still. So that energy potentially, one of the things I like to say is people may come back from the past during a Venus retrograde. So you might have some reconnection with somebody. And it is something about repairing, or maybe, maybe it isn't even like a reconnection as far as like a reconciliation and let's get back together type. Of course it could be, but it could be just that like there's still that lingering energetic ties. You felt like you didn't get closure or things didn't get fully wrapped up. This could also be happening from an etheric standpoint, more energetically, not even in the physical. This could be something where you're connecting through spirit, reconnecting with maybe someone who's passed, or even just someone that is not in your life anymore that you probably may not ever reconnect with, but you still have some ties that are binding you, that have kind of been haunting you. And I feel like there's a call here to really listen to the messages, or if you're having a lot of dreams about this person. I do feel like energetically that it's like divine timing right now for us to kind of wrap and close those up. But if this physically happens, I mean, that's amazing if you actually physically reconnect. I would say with the foxglove, the guidance here is to really be open to listening to what they have to say if they reach out. And because I do feel like, they are being true, like they are coming from the heart. And if they did you wrong in the past, or you feel like, I don't know if I want to even give them the chance to speak type of energy. But also with the hydrangea, so that's going to be your flower, I think, for spring and summer. So definitely a flower, I think, that would be helpful for you Cancers out there. So that's for you guys. I did also want to just speak about April in general. So kind of the monthly themes and reflections for April for you to think about, and just as like, I guess foundational things to work on is, again, Aries represents the ram, and Aries energy is really about action, confidence, and leadership. So those are the three themes: is action, confidence, and leadership. And you'll really see the energies represent that, right? We have the sun in Aries. At the very end of March, we had the new moon in Aries. That was a partial eclipse. So that energy is also like that partial eclipse is adding to the intensity of that Aries energy. So it's really about gaining and finding that confidence in yourself, being kind of stepping up to be a leader in all different sorts of senses, and then also finally being able to take action on things that maybe you're just feeling motivated and ready to do that. All right, so let's go to the tarot here. I am using the Klimt tarot. So if you guys don't know art, but these cards are all inspired by the art of Gustav Klimt, which is a very famous artist back in the 1800s. I think he was like Austrian or Belgian or something like that, but his art is well known, and there's a couple paintings that are really famous. If the card comes up, I'll show you guys, but you'll see some of these art everywhere, like on on cards, on just like actual like printed paintings that you can buy, things like that. I do have a little disclaimer I usually say when I use these cards, is there is some more adult nude pictures in the cards. So if that is something that bothers you, just a heads up. But we're all adults here, right? And this is all... The human form is beautiful. Let's see here. So we have the Eight of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, Eight of Swords, two eights, Three of Wands, and the Hanged Man, and then I'm going to take this Empress, sorry. So for some of you here, there's something that you've been working on, working towards. This could be a job as well. With the Eight of Pentacles, it's something that you've really been like focusing time and attention into. The Eight of Pentacles generally does refer to like work. It, like I said, it could be just more of like you've been working towards a goal. It could also be like internal work for some of you. But I feel like you've hit kind of a point in the road where you feel a little stuck in regards to this. Like you've, so it could be like, for example, a job. You've been working at this job and you've just hit up kind of a point in the job where you're like, I just feel stuck in what I'm doing. I don't feel like I'm growing. Maybe there's things happening within that, you know, that company or that space where it just doesn't align with you anymore. And where do I go from here? How do I get out of this? How do I even shift? Maybe you want to completely change what you're doing. There could be something too around like the expectations have changed and you feel kind of now you're stuck because where maybe you had more expansiveness or freedom or flexibility, there's some new expectations here happening. And it's really the expectations, you have the Eight of Swords and then the Hanged Man on the other side. So that is really feeling stuck. And that maybe you don't have the ability to change. It could be a shift in culture, you know, a restructuring or something in that sense, but it's really has kept you're really feeling stuck and you're trying to find some perspective here. And I do feel with the Seven of Swords, it's like, you want to get out of it. Like, how do I get out of this? Like, what's my exit strategy? But again, you're feeling really stuck at like, you know, it could be like, hey, I make a lot of money, it pays the bills. Or even like, I want to get out and do my own thing. I want to follow my purpose or my spiritual path. And it's like, but how do I do that? Right. And it's like, this feels really extreme as far as like what the energy is. And it's like, how do I get out of this? To me, the Seven of Swords a lot is about kind of that, yeah, how do I get out of this situation? But I do really feel, because this card here in the deck, there's this pregnant woman. And then you also have the Empress, which also refers to fertility and like, you know, expanding, growing something and birthing a new reality. You know, for some of you, this could actually like be a sign of a pregnancy if that's what you've been wanting. But I think in general, what this refers to is like, you have been gestating in the energy ethereal world more, like you've been manifesting something and it hasn't fully came to be yet where you're actually, it's opening up in the physical. But I do feel like it's coming and you've really been, and you're not seeing this, right? Especially with the Hanged Man, that refers to like having a distorted perspective and not really seeing something. I do feel like you're not really seeing this happening because it's happening more on an energetic level, but it is coming. And I do feel like you are leveling up to the Empress here. So, you know, all this energy in between is really lower level, you know, denser. There's the swords here, so it's a lot in the mind about this situation. So that's kind of what's happening, like, to me in the energies, like underneath, kind of what's the root of why things are happening or what you're going through right now. So let's get more. I like this Ace of Swords, Six of Pentacles, and the Death card. So this might be a good sign for some of you if you're trying to get out of a job or figure out how to change like what you're doing. I feel like there is an end coming. I do feel like there is some clarity about the situation, especially freeing you from, again, feeling stuck. There is some sort of balancing happening in your life right now where you're really looking for something more balanced. Maybe this situation as well hasn't been equitable anymore for you, especially from like an emotional, mental standpoint, and wanting something where, you know, maybe you haven't been recognized as much for what you've been doing, and that's coming. Like you're looking for something more that, you know, you're being recognized potentially for more your real gifts and your skill set and abilities here. But this is shifting here. There is a big change coming up. Yeah, the Moon. I still feel like you're in the dark about this, like this isn't clear yet. But the sword is coming in, right? The sword is coming in to cut through any sort of confusion or distortion happening and bringing in true clarity. We have the Fool. I like that right in the middle. And then the Star. Look at that. So we have a lot of major arcana here, you know. 4 out of the 6 cards are major. So that's pretty big. I mean, so you're really being projected on a new path. So something new is coming. So I really feel like if this is work related, this old thing is ending. You're ending this, and something new is you're going forward on a new path. So something very new, something that is very, very freeing. It's kind of what you've always wanted to do. This is like your like dream career, or like I said, you had a wish of really doing something maybe more, again, in the spiritual space, energy space, or just doing something aligned more that aligns with your purpose or things that you love to do. So I really love this, Cancer, for you guys. Another major, Temperance. Whoa, the World. Are we going to end with another major arcana here? Let's see. What is this last card going to be? 6 of Wands. I still like that, right? The 6 of Wands is about success, recognition, overcoming all of this challenging stuff from the past and really being seen. Like I finally feel like you're moving into something where people see you. I feel like you're being recognized for, again, something that is some innate gift or ability. And I feel like you're really aligning with either like a company, a new type of work, or putting yourself out there, and people seeing you for what you really have to offer and your abilities here. So with the Death and the World card, like this thing that you've been going through, if you're still in it, this is over and done with. I think April's bringing that kind of clearing and bringing a completion of this situation. And I feel like right now, if, you know, sometimes I see this as like the past, present, future. this could just be kind of this progression of where you're at and progressing forward. But I do kind of feel like either this is the recent past or where you're at right now. But I feel like they're saying to you, like, you know, trust here, trust, because it's like your answers are coming with the Ace of Swords. With that Temperance card, it's kind of like, hey, the divine is kind of working with the energies right now to perfect them, to them all of a sudden, then it becoming like manifested, right? We talked about that with the Eight of Pentacles here and the Empress. Like something like this too, look at this. You have a lot of these cards that reference pregnancy here and fertility and growth and kind of growing something new, birthing something new. I don't think this doesn't necessarily mean like literally. So obviously if you're not looking to get pregnant, I wouldn't be worried here. But if you really are, like if there's cancers watching this and you've been trying or want to try to have a baby, I think this April's like very fertile energy right here for you. So definitely I think that is a sign. But it is interesting. There's like 3 cards in here that really picture that energy. And I feel like that's just a metaphor. Like you have been really working on something from more of in the ethers. So something's really been manifesting, especially if you feel like you've been trying to make a change in your life. Like maybe you've been really working on a side gig or really trying to figure out like, how do I shift out of like the old traditional work into something that's more aligned with my purpose and something that's more fulfilling. I definitely feel like something is finally going to come together for you this month. Because this is really about like walking away from something, moving on a whole new path. Like this is something completely different. Like this isn't to me like saying, oh, I'm finding a new job in the same sort of type of work. Like this is a complete change. So apply this as what resonates for you. It could be work. I mean, it could be any sort of situation here. I mean, yeah, it's pretty, I mean, this is big, right? Again, look at all of these major arcana cards. And like, I recently talked about this in God, what was it? It was one of the weekly videos. I think it was around it was the weekly video during the Virgo full moon last month. I think I did this for Scorpio too, but I'm not one that exaggerates, or especially with tarot and these types of videos. Like, I don't want to sugarcoat things and just like, put out descriptions that just pull people in, and the reading has nothing to do with the description, or I just try and make it seem like, oh, everything's amazing, and doing that whole clickbait thing. Like, I want to give you guys the truth and the reality of the reading. So I'm not going to lie when I say like, whoa, this is like your biggest reading ever. But for you Cancers, since I started my YouTube channel, this is probably the biggest reading that I've done for you guys personally. So this is something special for you guys. So April, this is a special month for you guys. I really feel like something really is finally shifting. If you feel like you've been stuck for a long, long time and you've been trying to do inner work to shift your life, or just in general, like try to, put the energy out there, whether it's, like I said, maybe you've always wanted to write a book, or, start your own company, and you've just kind of been slowly doing it, trying to have it come together and actually be something real that you can focus full time on. I feel like this is really finally going to happen for you guys. So let me see. I mean, this is pretty black and white. So let's see. So we have all this. I'm just going to kind of pull a card around the reference to this. What is really about to be birthed for you? Like, what is this reference to all this, you know? What is about to be birthed for you guys? Ten of Wands, Seven of Cups, and the Two of Wands. So this is really a completion of a long cycle in your life. I feel like for a lot of you, you've been on a challenging path for some time. It could be too, like it could be referencing, sometimes I think the Ten of Wands is referencing like patterns you've been in life that have obviously been more negative. Like you've always, for example, always attracted the same type of relationship that, you know, is re-traumatizing you from childhood. You always attract people who are non-committal, something like that. And this is closing up. So it's like you're birthing onto a completely new path here. I also love that the Seven of Cups is really about you're finally birthing like a true, like it's almost like all your desires, like your wishes are being granted here. And then the Two of Wands also references like starting a new, going down a new path, going in a new direction, finally like actively knowing that and seeing it. So I feel like it's finally like that new, it's like a new door that you didn't know was even there. Like the door opens up for you. So I love that. What's the Death in the World? Two of Swords. Again, like this ending of feeling stuck. If you've been like feeling like you've been in limbo for a long time, there hasn't been a lot of change in your life, but really wanting some change in certain areas of your life, I almost feel like finally, you know, things are going to start actually moving. And also this to me refers to energy blocks as well, that like if you've had like an energetic block around your heart, that has been the true root of why you keep attracting like, you know, failing relationships, unhappy relationships. I just feel like it's like divine timing, but also I feel like you've been doing some sort of work and that's also helping to propel you into this new path and that not being like an issue anymore. So I just feel like clarity's coming. Any confusion you've been in for a long time is going to be cleared. It's almost like, hey, you've been wishing for something for so long, and it's like finally your wishes are granted. So really big Cancer. I'm really excited for you guys this month and to see how it unfolds. Definitely leave comments and let me know if this resonates and things have already shifted. I even come back to the video because it kind of fuels me to see like people's lives changing in such positive ways. So let me know. Definitely share this video if you know other Cancers or other people this seems like it's spot on for. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave it at that. I think I want to leave it on a high note. So enjoy the month ahead. You know, this also is is really aligned with that Mercury and Venus going back direct as well. Things are going to start to move forward in a better direction. So good times, Cancer. Thanks for joining in, and I will see you in the next reading.